Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Invisible Condition. It's not all in your head. I'm your host, Jeff Pearson, and we want everybody with an invisible condition, no matter what that condition is, to know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you do have a voice, you have a community, and you are never, ever alone. And I am very excited to introduce you to our guest today. But first, I have a very exciting piece of news, and that is welcome to our 200th episode, everybody. 200 episodes. Okay, this is cool because it feels like we just did this. We just started this like last month. 200 episodes. We're here. This is so cool. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you, audience, and all the amazing guests and the amazing audience and all the amazing viewers that have made this possible. And thank you to all my past guests and my guests that have been on more than once, and all the fun that we've had on the air, all the different things that we've done, all the things that I've learned, all the things you've learned. Just thank you. Thank you. I can't wait for the next 200. Let's go. Bring it on. So thank you for that, everybody. And I appreciate you being here. And here we are. So, all right. Today we have Stephanie Love, and she has overcome some obstacles. She's presented, those obstacles presented to her after it was like kind of the aftermath of a traumatic brain injury that was caused by a car accident back in January of 2009. And so since that time, and by the way, if you guys don't know what a traumatic brain injury feels like, it can be brutal. And it can be life altering. And so this is a big deal. Since 2009, Stephanie has worked jobs that has challenged her and challenged your cognitive skills. I mean, honestly, when you have a TBI, it can be challenging to do just about anything. So yet she continues to persevere, which is the awesome part. She actually started her own accounting career in 2011. And in 2020, she founded her company, Bizee Bookkeeping LLC, which that's triumph right there, man. She is, manages her business while being a wife to a firefighter and paramedic and a toddler mom. So that's awesome. I love, we were just talking about potty training and all the fun things. So I remember those days. It was fun. So we're gonna talk to Stephanie here. Let's bring her on the show and kick this off here. This is gonna be fun. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here in your busy life, man. Toddlers make it interesting, don't they? Oh,
makes life pretty hectic, yeah.
Right. So, okay, let's just dive in here. Take us back. Take us back to January of 2009. What do you remember about that accident, and what was like the kind of the immediate aftermath, and like how did that go?
So I was getting my bands changed on my braces at the dentist on my way back to work during around lunchtime, and I wasn't texting, wasn't anything, but I was driving like a 21-year-old, like an idiot in a Mustang, and had no seatbelt on. Went off the road a little bit, overcorrected, went into the oncoming traffic side. They hit me on the passenger backside, flew me into a tree. Since I had no seatbelt on, I hit my head on the windshield. My brain hit my skull and bled internally. So I was postured when they got there. They had to intubate me, take me to the trauma hospital nearby. And I was in a coma for 2 weeks, had to learn to walk, talk, and eat again. All that. It was crazy, but everyone's just like, how did you do it? What did you think that, this is hard, I can't do it at any point? But there is no moment for you to even think that. You just do what you have to do and go forward. There's nothing else, no other options.
No, I mean, what are you gonna do? Give up and die? That's ridiculous. No,
I guess some people, I don't know.
Well, it's true. It's true. Not everybody. It's true. You're absolutely right. I shouldn't assume that. Yeah, some people. I mean, I know lots of people that are not with TBIs, but with other conditions. They're diagnosed and they're just like, okay, this is life, and they don't really explore anything outside of it, and they don't really, and that's fine. Everybody's different, but Um, but yeah, especially with a TBI, you got to fight. It's a thing.
So I won't remember anything from the actual accident because I mean, most people don't remember things from accidents, just like a traumatic thing. Your brain kind of shuts off for a minute. The doctor told me the best analogy or the way to put this is, let's say you're carrying a camcorder and somebody bumps into you and you drop it. You're never going to get back what you're recording right then. So, which the insurance called me and said, do you remember what kind of car it was that hit you? And I was like, a black Toyota for some reason. And they were like, well, that's what we have on record. So for some reason that flash came into my mind. No idea why, but yeah. So luckily she was okay. The driver in the other car, you know, it just, anything can happen at any moment of anyone's life, and you should really not take it for granted.
It's true. It's true. And I say this, and I'm not saying this to make light of anything, but between the ages of 16 and 24, I never renewed a registration. I have had a lot of experience with crashing cars. Okay. I would get the car, and sometimes it was my fault because I was a stupid teenager. And so in fact, the first couple, 100% my fault, stupid teenager stuff. But sometimes it's, like we got hit by a drunk driver one time. It wasn't serious, but it was, we've gone through some cars. And so the accident thing, it's jolting every single time. And you don't always remember everything. The police are asking you questions and
all the little details. Yeah.
Right. I actually had one officer one time, and I loved that she did this because it made it so much more simple. I wish more would do this. She said, look, I was sitting in the back of her car, and she was asking me questions, and she said, all right, listen, you just answer with yes or no. If you give me any more information, that gives me more to go on, and it gives me more to prosecute. There's the less you give me, the better. Yes or no answers. That's it. And so, I was very thankful for that because I'm a talker and I like to go on and on about, when they ask me a question, I'm like, ooh, details. She said, yes and no. That's all I want. That's all I need. So,
I've gotten in a lot of trouble that way. Like I've had a boss say, why did you give this person this information? I'm like, well, because they asked. And he's like, but did they ask you specifically? I'm like, no, they did not.
I know. It's hard. It's hard not to do that because you want to be helpful, but you got to help yourself too sometimes. That's kind of important, especially with an accident. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to so everybody that's watching right now, thank you for being here. I am so thankful that you're here, and welcome. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on E360 TV, like, subscribe, share all the things so that you're reminded for the next episode. And if you are on Facebook or YouTube, you can actually comment during the show and let us know. If you have a question for Stephanie, or you have a question about anything you hear, about anything with traumatic brain injuries, about her business, about what she, anything during the next 50 minutes or so that we're here. If you have any questions, reach out on social media. And I'm also going to put, where is it? There it is. That is Stephanie's website and QR code that goes right to her website. What will people find there when they go to that website, Stephanie, that they can reach you?
Services that are offered, a little bit about the business. In general, it's really, I want someone to have a conversation with me so I can learn a little bit more about their business, themselves, what they're looking for, and how I can help them. It's more geared towards that, I'd say, to really reach out and let's have a conversation.
Exactly. That's the point, is there is a place to reach out so that there is a place to contact you. So that is what, so scan the QR code, go to the website. If there's any questions you have for Stephanie, this is the time. Jump on there and ask away. So you said walking and talking and eating, like that you had to relearn a lot of stuff. What was some of the biggest, like that was obviously a big deal. I've never experienced that myself. That's got to be weird.
Well, so probably the strangest thing that you don't think about when you walk, your arms move as you walk with your legs.
Yep.
So they had to, because I was in a stroke rehab hospital for my second hospital because my symptoms were like a stroke patient. So the left side of my body was temporarily paralyzed. I could not use, my left side really, even like running was like a fast hop or something.
Oh,
And
wow.
then my hand, I could barely move. So I had to do occupational therapy, physical therapy. Even now when cooking, if I'm trying to drain a pan, I really can't hold that pan up. I have to use my other hand too. My husband will ask me if he can help, and I'm like, no, you know that I need to do this by myself. But that was probably the hardest thing. I had to put a stick in my hand and move it while I walked so my body would get the motion back to move my arms while I walked. Otherwise, it just stood still.
Yeah.
It's awkward.
So is it just that it looks awkward? Or is there some sort of motor thing that happens when you do
it's a whole, so the right side of my brain bled, so the left side of my body was affected. So I had like the droopy mouth, like a stroke patient, and the whole left side of my body just had to be rewired in a way.
Okay.
Just had to learn to use all of it again. And now I do have some difficulty if I work out and if I do certain weights, like my left arm will get way more tired faster and hard, but I can't use different weights on each side. Obviously that would not work out well for me. But I mean, I don't, in the very beginning of my accident, I used to use it as a crutch. Like, oh, well, I had a brain injury, so this happened, that's why I do this, or that's why I say this. And now I don't really even tell people about it like too quick. Like my clients, they'll probably find out later on, like just in a conversation, but I don't want someone to prejudge. And like the tattoos, like don't prejudge. It doesn't affect my ability to do this job. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. There's a lot of that goes on for any number of reasons. So I mean, I've learned over the years with my invisible condition, and others in the same boat. Yeah, you never know because you don't want to prejudge because you never know what people are going through. Like my classic example is the person that pulls into the handicap spot at the store, right? And they've got the plates. Don't worry, it's legal. Like they don't steal. The people that steal those drive me nuts. I hate that. But the ones that are legit, right? They pull in, they've got the plate, the placard, whatever it is, and the person that's driving jumps out of the car, runs into the supermarket, comes out with the bags. Doesn't look like anything's wrong, but you watch them drive away and you go, huh, that was weird. Did they really need that spot? But what you don't think about is maybe their condition is such that they had to take a nap for 2 hours and take an extra pain med just to just to make it to the store, to get there for that half hour, to drive home, to probably crash again and take another nap. You know what I mean? They don't see everything on either side of it. They just see that tiny little snippet there.
I think we're all guilty of prejudging a little bit because,
sure.
I know I've done it, but I think about it more now.
100%. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people should. I think a lot of people would do well to think about that more because it's a classic adage, it's like you just don't know what people are going through. So just mind your business and don't judge anybody because you never know,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious though, specific, like I know you kind of answered it, but I want to ask you again because I'm very curious. Like there's like it's natural to just swing your arms, right? But you had to relearn that. Is that important?
Yeah, it's weird.
Is it important to relearn that? Like, is that motion important?
I would only say it's important in a way to get normalcy back and to have people not like look at you weird because also 2 years after the brain injury accident, I was in a car with a friend who fell asleep at the wheel and broke my hip in that car accident. So lucky me. So I actually had to be on a walker for a while because I wasn't stable enough on crutches to leave the hospital. And people stare at you. And that was not something that's something that, I could later change and help. But think of the things that people cannot help and people that stare at them. I'm like, that's so incredibly harsh, and it's sad.
It's true. It is. And there are people that can't help. There's people with, I'm trying to remember if it's cerebral palsy, I think, right? That I've seen some people and they have the crutches that are like, they're always on crutches. because of the stability and the strength of their legs and stuff. I mean, there are a lot of conditions out there that carry with them things that they have to use to live life.
They cannot be hidden, that are not invisible.
That are not invisible. Yeah. The condition might be invisible, but what they need to do to live life with it is not. And yeah, you're right. People are, I mean, it's just like when you learn in kindergarten, right? Don't stare,
Don't point, don't stare. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I mean, I'm all for curiosity. I mean, there was a time after my most recent brain surgery in 2021, there was a time that I had some really large motor tics that would just rock the right side of my body. And the whole right side of my body would shake. And at work, when I went back to work, the kids, I worked at a school, K through 12 private Christian school. And so, you know how kindergartners are and preschoolers, they just say stuff. They have no filter. They just say stuff. And they would start to imitate me. And I was like,
oh,
I can't be mad at them because they're just being, so it's, but out in the world, you're right. People are cruel. So that's a good lesson. Don't, if you have a question, did you ever get legit questions? Like, hey, I'm just curious about this. Like, what's going on? Like those.
No, I don't think it really had anything that was that stood out so much that anyone asked. Most people don't even know until I say something. I'm like, oh, I had a brain injury, and they say, oh, that's what's wrong with you, and I'm like,
thank you. Yeah. That's not a great response either.
I mean, I already talked fast before the brain injury, and now I still talk fast, and then I slur about 3 words to one, and people are like, what? I'm like, well.
Yeah, that's a thing sometimes. I've done the same thing. It's like your brain is moving slower than your mouth, or the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just kind of, And the people that love you, that see you every day, your family, they get it. It's like they don't. In fact, my wife doesn't even. My wife and kids, they don't even notice anymore the stuff that the different things. It's just me. It's just you. It's just mom. It's just dad. So that's cool. So that gives you a little bit of normalcy there. But well, I'll tell you what. Man, I'm loving this story, and I'm hoping that you out there are taking notes, because this is all good stuff. By the way, first and foremost, wear your seatbelt, everybody. That's the first lesson, I think. But let's take a break. I'm going to take this QR code down. We're going to take just a short break, and when we come back. I mean, this journey that you're going through is ongoing. This is not something that just stopped when oh, I'm normal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're done. No. So we're gonna talk about that, about the ongoing aspects of it, and how you built a business in spite of it. Which is huge. So we'll talk about that on the other side of the break. Everybody, stick around, and we'll see you soon.
Hey there. Every time someone comes into your business or website and uses their card to pay, a percentage of that gets folded back into the system. But it can go to Hydro with Hope instead. If you'd like your business to support us rather than feed back into the system, scan the QR code and we'll show you how to do that while saving your business money.
Hey everyone, Coach Greg here from Living Empowered TV, where we help women live empowered lives through amazing guests, life hacks, mental, physical, and emotional health. See us on the Achieve Network, 12 o'clock Wednesdays Pacific time on E360 TV. Don't miss out.
All right, everybody, before we bring Stephanie back up to hear some more of her amazing story, I would like to talk to you about InvisibleCondition University, or ICU for short. I've had an interesting surgical history over the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, I've had 4 brain surgeries and 2 others that were related to that condition that caused the brain surgeries. It's been a busy last 10 years. Every time I go to the hospital to do one of those surgeries, and every time we come home, I feel like we kind of got dropped like a bad habit. You know, the hospital doesn't follow you home to help you. You're on your own. And so that's why my wife, Catherine, and I created ICU. We wanted to provide a place where people like us, maybe like you, could find a place, a community that listens, you know, that cares, that walks with you, no matter what you're going through, no matter how long the journey is. We meet on Zoom twice a month for about an hour. Sometimes it's longer. The last call we had was a little longer, but that's fine. We were having great conversation, and we want to provide a safe place for patients, and their caregivers. By the way, my wife is on the call as well. She was my caregiver for so long, with all of this going on. So bring the person that's working with you, taking care of you. We wanted to provide a safe place for you to ask questions, you know, vent frustrations, find information that maybe you're not getting from your medical provider, especially after you go home, right? If you are interested in learning more or want to receive a free month of the membership, scan this QR code or go to myfreegiftfromjeff.com. And there's lots of information on the website so you can learn more about it. So, all right, let's bring Stephanie back here and continue with the story here. Wow. As soon as I get this frog out of my throat, that's awesome. That's great. So what was obviously there was a journey there, traumatic brain injury, accident, and then you're going through it. And then you get to a point where you're like, okay, we gotta do something. Like, what was that turning point when you started to feel like you were regaining control? Like, okay, now it's time to get down to business again, you know?
Oh, I had a full-time office job, and at the time I wanted to also start bartending, and I had never even done that, and I wanted to just make a little extra cash. So, and this is right after my brain injury. So like I had to get into this. I had to learn shots and drinks and memorize these things. And my brain isn't quite there, like to where it has the ability to even remember all of these things. But I downloaded an app. I studied and studied and studied and memorized. And then with repetition and learning to make all these shots and drinks, I got really good at it and bartended for about 5 years after that with a full-time job. And then I did a little bit of school. I did online vet tech school, anatomy, physiology, medical mathematics, things like that, but didn't end up liking it. But kind of got me to where I am now and doing what I do now. And I'm actually taking continuing education courses right now just to, be better at my job and all that.
Nice. That's a lot. I mean, I'm with you. I got a guitar for Christmas a few years ago, and a book full of chords and all that stuff. I'm still struggling, man. It's memorizing that kind of stuff just is hard.
It's hard self-taught. Yeah. I tried that too. It's hard.
It is tough. I don't know. I've heard there's some really good online classes and stuff, but I haven't gone down that road yet. But I mean, to your point, memorizing all the recipes for all the drinks and all the different things, and oh my gosh. So well done. That's awesome. And then you did that, but then you started a business. I mean, you were in the bookkeeping arena, and you're like, you know what, let's do our own thing, right? Let's own it and run our own business, which is the way to go anyway, I think, personally, in my humble opinion. I don't like working for somebody else either. So
Yeah.
So how was that? I mean, that had to be amazing to just be like, okay, we're here, we're doing this, we're running business here.
Well, I started, in accounting in 2011. I started with like small things like AP, revenue recognition, AR, and like then I just kind of brought it all together. Did a little bit of HR too at different companies, different industries. And then my boyfriend at the time, now husband, was like, in 2020, you should just do this on your own. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And he's like, no, why don't you? Because I worked for a company that outsourced me to their clients. And he's like, why don't you just do this, what you're doing now, but for yourself? So I started while I had a full-time job working for a company, Austin Cocktails. It was a woman-owned business. They were then acquired by Constellation Brands, huge company. Great for them, but then I had to move from working with that company, and that's really like the industry I love to be in, but it's impossible to get in unless you know somebody. But started my business while I had that full-time job, and then since they were acquired by Constellation Brands, Constellation's like, oh, you're pregnant, we'll give you maternity leave plus take all your vacation. So from July to December, I was just off work and had my company that I was trying to get off the ground. So it really just worked out for me in a way. I got more lucky than I can really even say. Most people don't have that availability, but that's how I got my company started. And then I just slowly got bigger and better. And, the rest is history. Now I'm growing right now.
That's amazing. So okay. So business owner, wife of a first responder, by the way, thank you to your husband for that. That's amazing. That is an industry that I will never, the first responder, whether you're coming to the scene in a fire truck or a police car or an ambulance, like any of those positions, man, I have the utmost respect. That is amazing. So thank you. Thank you.
I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the first responders,
Right? Oh, well, I mean, yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
You speaking of that, did you ever know any of those, or did you get to go meet them again like later? Or
so my stepdad is actually a retired Houston fire chief, and he knew the guy. It was one of the guy's first big calls that he had gone on. Wow. And he like really stumbled on his words when he called and left a voicemail like, hey, she's okay, but she got in an accident, but she's okay. And like it just really stumbled all, and it's understandable. He got that guy in trouble, which I was not happy about, because that was, I mean, hey, I would choke up on my words. But in any case, I never got to go back and say thank you, but I really wish that I still could. And it's possible that he's still at Houston Fire Department somewhere in one of their bazillion stations. But I would love to go back and say thank you at some point, just because I wasn't breathing already. So had they taken moments more, I might not be here.
Yeah.
So it's amazing that they did what they did, and they got me where I needed to go.
It's amazing. Well, hey, if anybody's watching from Houston Fire Department, here you go. Hunt them down.
I mean, I could get his name easily from my stepdad, but I don't remember.
Yeah, no, I get it. That's awesome. That is a big deal. If I hope you get to, because I think that'd be really cool.
It's been 16 years now, but I still, would like to go back and say that. Thank you.
I mean, yeah. You never know. I mean, I got to thank my childhood neurosurgeon that did the first couple surgeries on me when I was 2 weeks old, 6 months old.
That's cool.
Those first couple brain surgeries when I was really, really little. And we just kept in touch over the years. And I actually got to go to, after he retired, his house and hang out with his family and thank him for everything. So it's possible. You never know. You never know. He was in Austin. So we were going to Houston, funny enough, for something. And we flew into Austin to do that and then went to Houston. So Houston's big though. I agree. So
yeah, that's where I'm from. So it's really big.
Yeah. So, but well, yeah, that's awesome. So with the continuing part of this, because you almost never get rid of a traumatic brain injury, no matter what therapy you get, no matter how well you recover from that, it almost always sticks around.
There will be some things that I'll never get back. Doctors have
Right.
said, like I said, when I'm working out, this arm doesn't, like it's a lot weaker. And he said, you're never going to get those back. Work out as if it's still the same as your other side. And he
Yeah.
said, you'll just never get those things back. And
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm okay with it. It's not, there are worse things, and I'm very thankful to be where I'm at. And, it could be way worse.
Oh,
Some people
man.
don't make it out.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? When you said did you say you fell asleep at the wheel one time? That was one of
I
them?
didn't fall asleep. A friend fell asleep,
A
and
friend
I
fell
broke my hip in that car accident. Nothing happened to them.
Oh, yeah. See,
Naturally.
and I've been in your friend's shoes. I was driving alone and fell asleep at the wheel and ran into a guardrail at 80 miles an hour, overcorrected and ran into a. So yeah. And the only thing that I was wearing my seatbelt, so the only thing that happened was I bent the car in half and had a sore shoulder the next day. But those kind of things can end very poorly. So
Yeah.
so you're lucky to be here, which is
Oh yeah, absolutely.
so with all that, I mean, with the continuing things that are going on that are, I mean, obviously you got a handle on it. You're rocking it. But what are some of the things that you do day to day to kind of keep going and keep a handle on all that?
Well, to keep my body moving and to keep things on the left side maybe getting a little stronger, and then now with my right hip with the metal in it, and I got to keep all these things moving, I work out and I do the Peloton and I do squats and weights and all the things so that I can just keep my body from deciding it doesn't want to move one day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree. Yeah, you get up some days and just go, nope.
Oh, I mean, there are those days that I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, everybody has those, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Or I'll start over Monday. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, the cool thing is you can. That's the cool part is with all of this, with whether it's a traumatic brain injury or physical, more physical injury that results in surgery or anything like that. Like the cool thing is, yes, I know the doctors are like, therapy every day, push through, got to continue, got to, but if you don't feel like it one day, you can always pick up tomorrow. You can always start again tomorrow, no matter what it is. So
yeah, for sure.
Don't be too hard on anybody out there listening. Don't be hard on yourself. If you want to take a break, man. Pick up tomorrow. It's not going to end anything. You'll be all right. So if you had somebody sitting in front of you right now that had been, that had a traumatic brain injury, wasn't sure what to do, like, or that have been through some things like you've been through, like, what would be the first thing you'd tell them to kind of get going,
That no one's going to do it for you, and that you're just going to stay in the same spot you are unless you try and work hard. But again, like I said, I don't remember a moment of there being like, this is hard, I can't do this, or anything like that. So I don't think that most people have that. And the other thing that I had on my side, though, at that moment was my age. And the doctors even said, they said I could be sleeping for weeks to months. And then that night they said that, I woke up that day. So they did an MRI and said, oh, she'll be sleeping for weeks to months. And then I woke up that day, which is amazing. But I don't think that that crosses anyone's mind that, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm just going to lay in the bed and be a vegetable. No, if you have an option, you get up.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I don't think humans are what, well, maybe some, but most of us are not wired that way. Most of us are wired to want to live. We want to live. We want to carry on. We want to, get better, So yeah, of course. So what, I'm just trying to think. My mind just completely left my head for a second there. Man. So what are you doing now, Lana? Like, do you have organizations that you work with that helped you, or is there anything that like anybody that if you were in face to face with somebody that was in this situation, would there be like an organization or a certain thing that you would send them to, or is it just go see your doctor?
So not really that I can think of as far as like to help somebody, but I know that for a little while I did have people. I had a website that my mom had created just for people to wish me well, sort of thing. And then I actually had a couple people on like Facebook a long time ago reach out. One girl was like, "Hey, this happened to my sister. Can you please give me some hope?" And that's really hard to do, to have to put that on me because everyone's traumatic brain injury is very different. People that go to war and get blown up have TBIs, and they're very different. And theirs also come with a whole other mental aspect and PTSD of multiple things. And, mine, I'm not going to remember. So it's just a lot of different aspects. But I did help out with this one company in Austin, a nonprofit. I cannot remember the name at this moment, but I would go work with people that were way worse off than me, that had a traumatic brain injury from a car accident or whatever, like I did, and that can't speak very well, or maybe. So what was one thing that happened? I was at the gym one day and I saw a man helping a young guy that was very not well off, and he was working out and doing all these things, and I kind of came, and his symptoms looked very familiar. And so I went over and I asked the man, I said, do you mind if I ask what happened? He's like, "Oh yeah, he had a brain injury. He was on a boat with his friends, and he was on like a ski or wakeboard, and he came off and they turned this corner and he hit a wall. So he got a brain injury, and he was only like 22 even at the time that I saw him. And it was, I wanted to cry, but he said, "Oh, he had a traumatic brain injury," and I reacted probably poorly. I was like, "Oh, I did too," and then I was like, "I'm sorry, that was not." I just was like, "Wow, I can relate." I don't know why I reacted that way, but I did, and I was just like, "Oh, can I help?" But there's these are things I did in my therapies, and these work for me in these occupational therapies. And because his insurance couldn't pay for any more therapy, that's why he was at the gym with him working on other things, because he needed so much more. And that's why I feel amazing that I'm where I am. And it's, if I'm out and about and run into someone that's a nurse, they're like, "What happened to you?" And you're just here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's pretty cool when it's almost like you're set apart for something, it's like, okay, well, what am I going to do with it? Here we go. That's really cool. Well, and part of that is raising a family. I mean, that's part of what you're called to do now. That you wouldn't, maybe that wouldn't have been a thing, if things hadn't gone a certain way. Right. So, I mean,
what if I had already had a kid? Like,
right.
My mom had to take care of me right after the brain injury. She had to bathe me. She had to do all these things. I couldn't do much of anything. Yeah. I had to stay downstairs and sleep on the couch because I couldn't go upstairs, so I wasn't stable enough. And so that was when I was 21 when this happened. And then I didn't have my son until I was 35, and he's 2.5 now. So,
nice.
I think it all kind of worked out at a good time frame for me.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. I love it. Well, and things tend to do that, things tend to most of the time work out in a time that's good. I mean, it's not like we're not in control, it's not always up to us. We're not always in control. So, well, awesome. All right. Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to one more break, but stick around, everybody, because you alluded to it, Stephanie, earlier in the segment, hope. You kind of alluded to that, and I love that word. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the third segment, and continue to just help people know where to reach you and what you're doing now. And so everybody stick around, and we'll see you on the other side of the last break. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Jake, co-founder and CEO of One Hope. My friends and I started this company in 2007 out of the back of this truck on a mission to enrich people's lives through wine. Today, we've grown into a state-of-the-art Napa Valley winery that proudly houses a portfolio of award-winning wines which have touched lives through over 40,000 nonprofits at home and around the globe. And it's happening every day. Being rooted in local communities and contributing to initiatives that uplift neighborhoods, celebrate cultures, and promote community. It's what got us here. You see, through every bottle sold, your purchase can make a direct impact on the causes you care about. One Hope's cause of choice has given back over $10 million and counting.
Tired of losing cell service in dead zones? Concerned about connectivity in emergencies? There is now an answer. Introducing the Love Pod. The world's first affordable encrypted global internet Wi-Fi hotspot connects with multiple service carrier networks and is satellite assisted when no service carrier networks are available. So it works virtually anytime, anywhere. Connect up to 9 devices, like our cell phone, laptop, desktop, TV, security cam, and more. Stream, chat, text, download, and make phone calls, all with no roaming fees. With mesh capability, the Love Pods will grow in strength and speed with each new pod activated to create a private terrestrial-based intranet called Love Global Network. The Love Pods are dual blockchain encrypted with Love's proprietary 2048-bit cube chain encryption, giving you the ultimate protection in data privacy and security against digital attacks and hacks to your devices. You are no longer tracked, and your data is never sold. Get the Love Pod, your private, encrypted, portable global internet Wi-Fi hotspot, and stay safe and stay connected.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
And I'm Minna.
We're the hosts of Chronically Healthy Life.
Join us Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time on Vitality TV to see how we flip the idea of chronic on its head and create chronic health in our bodies, minds, finances, and relationships, right here on E360 TV.
All right, welcome back, everybody. And man, I hope you've been watching, and I hope you've been soaking this up, because this is good stuff. Traumatic brain injuries are a big deal, and for those of you who have ever had one, you get it, and for those of you who love somebody who's had one, you kind of get it. The one thing that I've adopted over the last couple of years of a mentality is never, ever, ever tell somebody you know how they feel. Like, oh, I know how that. Oh, yeah, I know how you feel. Especially with traumatic brain injuries, because everyone is different. Every traumatic brain injury is different. I've had multiple myself, not anything from a car wreck, but I've had 7 brain surgeries so far. Every one of those is a brain injury. You know, they go in there hacking around, and you know, you come away with different side effects and stuff. I'm never going to tell somebody I know how they feel, because I don't. You don't know how I feel. I don't know how you feel, right? Have you had experience with that? Have you had somebody tell you that?
I have not had someone say, I know how you feel, but I did, kind of stupid, but I overheard a girl talking about how she had a brain injury, so an accident on a boat. And her friend left to go to the bathroom, and I just kind of was like, oh, sorry, I wasn't eavesdropping. I was, but I was like, I wasn't eavesdropping, but I overheard you say brain injury. And I was like, oh, I had one too. And we talked about it a little bit, but hers was, and I hate to say this, but very superficial. Like she really didn't have much that happened. She did say that she lost her taste.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, I think we're a little experience,
different. Yeah.
But in any case, that's fine.
Well, but the funny thing is, everybody's experience is so different. So if I mean, I've had 15 surgeries. I've been under for 7 brain surgeries. I've had to,
that's scary in itself.
Do things right. Do things to get rid of crazy side effects that came from those brain surgeries. So that's my world, right? So that was the normal for me, as abnormal as it is, that was normal for me. So other people, they're like, oh, I had my wisdom teeth out, man. That was a crazy, it's like, and you kind of have to rein it in and you don't want to judge them, because it's like, that was for them. That was a big deal,
Yeah.
And so it's, everybody's experience is different, but I totally hear what you're saying, because I've run into people too. Oh, I bumped my head. Okay. Well, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, okay. So I have a question that I like to ask everybody that comes on the show, because I love the answer that I get every time. There's no wrong answer. I just want to kind of throw this out there on the days. I mean, I know every day is different, especially after a TBI. There's still tough days sometimes, and so on those tough days, on the ones that are really throwing you for a loop, how do you still maintain hope?
That's hard. There are days where it still happens every now and then, doesn't happen as often, but where I will look at someone that I see all the time and their name gone. I mean, that I talk to almost on a daily basis. It's gone. And I'm like, oh, I just like pretend like that's not happening up here. And I talk to them as if like, of course I know your name. I mean, why wouldn't I know it?
Yeah.
But it's almost embarrassing for me. And it's almost like I'm an 80-year-old with dementia. And I'm like, it's hard. But I feel like just having to like play certain games on your phone that are good for your mind and memorizing and things like that, that's all you can do. I don't really know what else, that's the only way you can give yourself hope. But I also look at where I'm at in life and how hard it was to get there, and that I still persevere through everything, and I, just keep going every day and get better every day and strive to get to the next level.
Right. That's it. I mean, seriously. That's it. Cause if you're not, what is it from Shawshank Redemption? Get busy living or get busy dying. It's like you're either growing or you're dying, so you may as well keep going. So, well, and one more thing. So everybody with the QR code down here, I hope everybody's been scanning that so they can get in touch with you. If you're interested in what Stephanie's doing and you need what she does, scan the QR code. Or if you want to hear about her story, I mean, if you want to talk to her, if you relate with the traumatic brain injury stuff and want to reach out, the other way to reach out is right here. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, E360, Facebook and YouTube, super easy to reach out and get in touch. So we'll if we see comments on there, we'll pass them along and she can get in touch with you. So so what else? What do you have anything coming up? Do you have any last thing you want to leave with the audience? We got about 3 or 4 minutes left. What's coming up, or what's going on that you want to leave the audience with?
Business wise, I'm trying to get into this like marketing area, which I know nothing about because it's not what I do, but I'm trying to like branch out and market more. And I actually have had the last 2 clients that I got, found me on my website directly, One is a health and wellness spa, yoga, tarot reading, all that kind of thing. And the other one, he's actually a financial advisor and was like, I need someone to do my books. And I was like, you're a financial advisor. And he's like, I don't do my own well. And I was like, okay. So I'm working with him doing his personal books, and I'm also doing business books. And I love sharing my knowledge and like giving analogies to some people to help them explain where their money's really going or where it's coming and where they can save and where they can, maybe spend more. And if it's for their business, it's a deductible expense and they don't realize they're not capitalizing on that, I've gotten in some people's books and I look and it's very, very simplistic, and it should be more detailed and they can really see where all their money's going. And I just like getting in there, getting detail oriented, nitty gritty, getting all that stuff done.
Well, and finding where they can, the deductions is huge, man. As a business owner, if you're not taking advantage of that, especially now this time of year, man, if you're not taking advantage of that, whoo.
And I'm not a CPA, so I tell all of my clients, you need a CPA. I will do all the books. But if you pay a CPA to do what I do, you're going to be spending an astronomical amount. So you need to be having a bookkeeper utilizing that, and then have your CPA review everything, and then get ready for your taxes.
Yeah, see, that's a big deal because not everybody knows there's a different, it's helpful to have both. Mm-hmm. The CPA is not going to do the same thing as what you do. So, and you don't do the same thing they do. So it's helpful to have both. That is something I learned a couple of years ago. You got to, I thought they were interchangeable, but
yeah, I love working with great CPAs too, that, know the books well, or I can explain something, it just helps a lot. And then having all the backup attached in the accounting software, so there's no questions or, hey, why did this person enter this? Oh, there's the email for that. And that's why, make it make sense.
Paper trail, man. Paper trail.
Yeah, you need it.
Trail. Seriously.
Helps with an audit for sure.
Yeah. Boy, that's a 4-letter word we don't need to say out loud, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yikes. Well, hey, I'm so glad that we got to do this, and thank you for your story, and thank you for, it's awesome. And I so appreciate you coming on here to share your story and to talk to all of us and get the word out. So thank you so much for being here, Stephanie. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff.
You bet. All right, man. Okay. Now, anybody out there that's had a traumatic brain injury, like those stories hit home for me, man. I love it when I hear people rocking it after that. So, okay, everybody. Oh, that's probably not a great. There we go. Chief TV, got to move out of the way. I didn't plan that very well. Here's where everybody can watch. Okay, E360, Facebook, YouTube. If you're watching on any of those, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. If this is your first episode that you're watching, I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Tell your friends. Bring them next time. Go Facebook, YouTube, like, subscribe, share, follow, all the things on social media. Everybody's familiar with it now. Right? We're in 2025. So thank you for being here. Thank you. I would not be here without you. And again, thank you for 200 episodes. I'm so grateful. Thank you to my audience, to everybody watching, everybody that's been spreading the word, sharing. I am in debt to you. I am so grateful. So thank you so much. And join us for our next episode, which will be Friday, February 28th. Finish out February here. February 28th is the next episode. And looking forward to seeing you there. And until then, have an amazing day. We'll see you soon.